This is my solo adventure bike. It's a 2024 Ténéré 700. I'll walk you around it and tell you all the things that I did to make it what I want it to be. It's definitely not the best at anything. It's a Ténéré 700. It doesn't have the strongest motor. It's not the fastest. It doesn't have the most horsepower. Nothing is high-tech, really. It's very basic, which is kind of what I like, especially when I'm out by myself and I have a problem. I don't like to rely on electronics and all that stuff. I'll start with the suspension. I bought this bike used with less than 3,000 miles on it. And the previous owner was a friend of mine, and he had already done some stuff to it. It came with Racetech valving and heavier springs, which coincidentally the spring rates work for me. So all I really had to do once I got the bike was adjust rebound and compression a little bit to my liking. I like to ride this bike a little bit more like a real dirt bike, so I was trying to take out some of the plushness. Same with the shock. It came with a modified shock, again Racetech. Let me see if you can see this, Racetech valving, heavier spring. Had to add quite a bit of preload to this shock, because one thing that I've noticed with these T7s is they're super twitchy on fast straightaways. Even on the road, the front end gets very light and loose and starts to twitch quite a bit. So I decided to add a ton of preload to it and maybe tune that out a little bit. I was successful with that. I'm pretty happy with the way it is right now. That said, as far as suspension goes, there's definitely improvements to be had still. Always is. I wish I could justify spending the money on the new MX Tech cartridges. I think they're called Ravens, and the National Shock. But to be honest, considering what I use the bike for, I don't think I need to, or I can honestly justify that expense. Moving on to the motor. The motor is stock. It's that CP2 from Yamaha. But what I did change is I changed the exhaust. I took off the header and cat, and I replaced the stock silencer with an aftermarket silencer, everything from Delcovic. So that opened up the exhaust flow quite a bit. I also changed, you can't see it, but under here is the air box. I changed the air filter to run to a foam filter. I got rid of that silly snorkel that Yamaha installs. And then I went to Two Wheel Dynoworks with the ECU and had it reflashed and reprogrammed for this setup. Made this bike completely different. It now has power. It's a little bit louder, but it's super fun. And a couple other things I added just recently. I went to this high front fender, but it still has or maintains this little rear fender flap here. I'm not really sure if I like this whole setup, but for now that's what I'm using. As far as protection goes, I added the Tusk crash bars. Two reasons. One, the way I ride the bike, it definitely gets dropped occasionally, and I want all the protection I can get. And two, when I drop the bike, these crash bars also make excellent points to grab the bike to pick it back up. So from that perspective, totally worth it for me. I added the AXP skid plate that covers the engine pretty well. No need for lower crash bars or anything like that. I feel that this skid plate covers this well. Aftermarket hand guards, aftermarket mirrors, and as far as protection goes, that's about it. As far as comfort, you'll detect the theme on all my bikes. I use a Seat Concept comfort seat. Makes a world of difference. It's a whole lot easier to remove the seat from the bike compared to the stock seat. It's a one-piece seat, and it allows me to ride all day comfortably. I also added a little rear rack with grab handles right here. Again, for when I fall down, it's easy to pick the bike up right there, and it allows me to strap on a little tail bag in which I carry the basic necessities, tools, whatever I need for a day's ride. I also use a Tusk tank bag. Same thing, I can throw a hat in there, water bottle, whatever I need, wallet, camera gear, and it's not in the way, it doesn't interfere with my riding at all, so I really like this. As far as navigation, I still use the Capuride. I'm still fighting with this. They've sent me a replacement once already. It's still not getting any better. Ultimately, I'm going to a Garmin, probably a Garmin Montana or something like that. Foot pegs I replaced. I went Chinese and used the nice CNC rally pegs. They're wider and they're a little bit longer, so it's quite comfortable to stand on these foot pegs for long periods of time. Absolutely no issue. Tires, I'm using right now the Tusk, somewhere it says it on here, Tusk 2-track. It's a pretty good front tire. I'm not 100% sold on the front because as mileage adds up, this tire starts to wear really weird. And then it starts to fall into corners, especially on the road. I'm not convinced that this is the ideal front tire. I'm likely going to go to the Mitas or Mitas, however you say it, Enduro XT. That's an awesome front tire. The rear tire here is also a Tusk 2-track, and the rear tire is awesome. I love these rear tires in Florida with the sand that we have. It's very predictable. It wears well, does well on the road. No complaints. Gearing on this bike, as far as sprocket goes, I left everything stock. I'm pretty happy with that. Only other thing I've added is these things are known to shift really notchy, and Nice CNC makes a little brace right here that supposedly helps it. I'm not sure if I notice a huge difference, but it's cheap. It kind of looks cool, and it hasn't impacted anything negatively, so I'm telling myself it works. I've removed the absolutely gaudy tail section that comes from Yamaha stock and replaced it with the Tusk, what they call a tail tidy. It eliminates this weird license plate holder that hangs down all the way down here, snaps off anyway, and it replaced it with this aluminum little brace and a place to mount your license plate. I still have a license plate light and brake light, tail light, turn signals, everything mounts up just fine. I think it's just a cleaner look, and for off-road riding, I feel it's considerably more durable this way. Last part I'll mention is I put a AliExpress headlight guard on it. Headlights are expensive. This is cheap insurance. And as far as the look of the bike, the graphics, this came from Fast Track Moto up in the Northeast, Jason Pachinko. He does an awesome job with this. This theme matches my dirt bike. It's my vibe. And I absolutely love this bike. I don't ride it on the road a lot. It's not set up for that, and I'm not going to change that. I ride road when I have to, just to get to the dirt. That's about it. So the focus on this bike was 100% dirt. Yes, there are still some improvements that can be had, but overall I am super happy with it. It does everything I want it to do, as good as I can probably handle it. Somebody asked me about my rear brake pedal, and as you can see, I still run the stock pedal. Yes, I have an aftermarket pedal on my bench, but to be honest, I'm not sure that it makes any sense. The stock pedal works fine as long as you bleed your rear brakes occasionally. The aftermarket pedal, it has a little bigger platform here, but like I said, to me, it just masks a condition of poorly bled brakes. I have no issue with it so far anyways. If that changes, obviously I'll swap it to either the Camel ADV one or the one that I have on the shelf, I think is from Nice CNC. I can't quite remember right now. But like I said, bleed the rear brakes occasionally, and I think you would be just fine with the stock pedal. It's nice to have a spare, so I'll keep the other one here, and at some point, maybe I'll install it. As far as my clutch goes, I forgot to mention this. I use the Nice CNC Easy Clutch bracket and clutch arm coupled with an aftermarket clutch lever, also a Chinese one. Between those two items, the clutch pull is actually really, really easy and controllable. It's probably not as good as the Alt-Rider setup, but at this point, I don't see any reason to replace it. All right, this is my solo adventure bike setup, the 2024 Yamaha T7. Let me know what I missed. Let me know if there are any items that you think I should add. I'm not into bling like colored bolts or titanium bolts or anything like that. It is an adventure bike and not a highly tuned motocross bike or anything like that. All that said, drop me a comment below. Suggestions, comments, criticism, I'm open for all of it. And I hope to see you on the trail soon.